Hello, my lovelies, how are you all? There are some characters in dramas who take the leap into love without hesitation. They are quick to fall in love and quick to claim the person they like, trying their most to make them fall in love with them. But there are other characters whose journey to fall in love is not very linear. These characters have certain traumas in their past which hinders their ability to love freely, but once they fall in love, they are in very deep. Their love is not frivolous. Once they commit to their love, there is no going back for them. There is an old saying that I read a couple of days ago and it inspired me to make this video. When two people love each other, they don't love in the same way. One of them is strong, the other weaker, and the weaker is always the one who loves without reckoning, without reservation. So in this video, we are going to look at 7 BL couples where one character fell first but the other fell harder. Shide fell in love with Shui when they were just teenagers. He constantly tried to stay close to Shui but never dared to confess to him because Shui hated him. Shui hated how good Shide was at everything. He was jealous of his academic achievements and couldn't figure out why Shide was always competing against him. Why is he always around to pester him? Why is he taking the same classes and doing the same activities? Shui couldn't stand Shide because he couldn't win against him. But in Shide's mind, he did that because he always wanted to be around Shui. He thought maybe competing against him is the way to gain his attention. Now in college, Shide and Shui meet again. Shui initially thought that Shide is here to compete against him once again. But this time, he came to know that Shide actually likes him a lot. As Shui internalized every single interaction with Shide, he realized that Shide truly loves him and he starts falling for Shide. They start dating and each day is sweeter than the other. But one day, Shide abandons Shui without a word and left him alone for 8 whole years. When he came back, he apologized for what he did and begged Shui to take him back. Shui agonizes over all the pain and suffering Shide gave him by deserting him, but he ultimately takes him back because his love for Shide was just too deep. He couldn't imagine not being with Shide even for a second. Shide fell in love first, but Shui fell harder. Han and Type were roommates in college. Due to a traumatic abuse incident in his past, Type was homophobic and hated gays. When he discovered that Than was openly gay, he made it his life's mission to expel him out of their room and make his life hell. But Than refuses to leave and Type's silly antics to make him leave don't work on him. The more mischief Type makes, the more Than finds him adorable. Than comes to care for Type when he discovers that behind Type's prickly exterior is a sensitive man who has some unresolved issues but refuses to work on them. Than confesses to Type but Type outrightly rejects him, even mocking him for his feelings. But Than's carefree advances start to have an effect on Type and he slowly started finding him attractive. Type found Than so alluring that he asked Than if he would sleep with him. Already having a crush on Type, Than readily agreed and the two started sleeping regularly together. But Type still thought of himself as a straight guy and started dating women. Than naturally felt jealous and expressed his disdain but was violently shut down by Type. Than eventually accepted his heartache and stopped bothering Type about it. This is when Type realized his true feelings for Than. He tried having sex with a woman but discovered that he can't have anyone touch his body other than Than. He finally confessed to Than that he has fallen deeply in love with him. Jiwoo hated Sojun when they first met. He thought of Sojun as an entitled celebrity who has the world at his feet and lives carefree, not ever worrying about having lack of money, family or friends. Jiwoo envied Sojun because he seemed to have everything that Jiwoo didn't. Having lost his parents at a young age, Jiwoo had to work every single day of his life to make ends meet. His shoulders had become heavy, carrying the weight of endless worries about money and stability. So Sojun's carefree demeanor and his charming personality made Jiwoo feel inferior. But the more he came to know Sojun, the more he realized that Sojun has the same insecurities as him. He also feels lonely and has moments where he feels self-conscious. Although Sojun was the one who flirted with Jiwoo first, it was Jiwoo who fell in love with him so deep that he was willing to spend his entire life savings to save Sojun from the media circus. It was Jiwoo who was willing to get hurt and lose his only job that he relied on to protect Sojun. Sojun became Jiwoo's entire world and someone he completely lost himself into. Third has been secretly in love with his friend Kai for 3 long years. He was content just being Kai's best friend for a really long time. Kai, being a player, brought girls home every single night, and this served as a painful reminder to Third that he can never win Kai's affections. He can never show his jealousy to Kai because to him he's just a friend. Third agonized over Kai's promiscuous attitude but still stayed beside him as a good friend. But when Kai started ditching Third to be with girls and when he stopped prioritizing their friendship to be with girls, Third realized that it was time to end this 3-year-long crush. He could no longer pretend to be just friends with him. He needed to leave and start fresh in order to survive. He could no longer bear to see his heart being trampled over by Kai. But just when Third left Kai, Kai realized what a blessing Third was for him. He would miss Third being around him. He would miss their late-night chats and how he was able to completely be himself around Third. Third had become an important person in his life and he only understood that after he left. Initially, Kai thought that it's only the friendship with Third that he's missing. But he later realized that when he sees someone else with Third, he would be filled with rage. He wants Third only for himself. His eyes, his lips, his smile should only belong to him and no one else. Kai tried his hardest to get Third back in his life, but it was not easy. It was payback time for Kai as Third was determined not to give him another chance. Eventually, Third came around and accepted Kai's love and they stayed together forever. Prapai is used to getting what he wants, owing to his handsome looks, his charming personality, and the fact that he comes from one of the richest families in Thailand. Men and women alike are drawn to Prapai like moths to a flame. Prapai didn't think that he will see an unfamiliar face one day in his usual racing circuit. Sky looked like a lost puppy, scared and vulnerable. Pai couldn't help but be drawn to him. His first instinct was to protect Sky, but he also couldn't help but be attracted to his alluring face, his narrow nose and luscious lips. It also helped that Sky immediately submitted to Pai, letting him do whatever he wanted to do with him. They spent a great night together and usually a player like Pai would just leave it at that. But for some reason he couldn't forget about Sky and wanted to get to know him more. Sky on the other hand deals with a past trauma that won't let him trust men again. He thinks that all men only want one thing from him and will abuse him like his ex did. So Sky vowed to himself to never let any man get close to him ever again. Sky completely ignores Pai's advances, but little by little, Prapai's honest motives towards him and his caring, considerate personality started to stir Sky's heart. Sky unexpectedly fell in love with Pai, but he was scared that like his past relationship, Pai will also get bored of him and then will abuse him. But Pai was different. He showed Sky what a gentleman is. He was respectful, kind and considerate towards Sky. He made Sky feel safe and protected. Sky ultimately ended up falling deeply in love with Pai. Jaewon thinks of himself as a lost cause. His younger brother was the only person in this world who cared about his passion. He was the only one who had faith in him, but ever since he passed away, Jaewon has lived a zombie-like existence. His inner consciousness has died long ago and he has no purpose or vitality in his life. The outside world considers him as a guy who is rich, popular and considerate. Someone who has a lot of friends and countless opportunities to thrive and become successful. There is literally no one in this world who sees Jaewon for him and not someone who has a rich father and a dead brother. This was until he met Ji-yoon, a bright-eyed junior from a small town who is still adjusting to the culture of a cold and lonely city like Seoul. Ji-yoon immediately develops a crush on Jaewon when they met and Jaewon also felt drawn to him. Jiyoon's innocence, his zest for life, and his ability to bring Jaewon out of his shell and be his real self in front of him slowly became irresistible to Jaewon. But a person who is in a really dark place cannot commit to loving anyone. Jaewon withdrew from Jiyoon only because he didn't want to pull Jiyoon down with the weight of his trauma and responsibilities. Jiyoon felt betrayed, but he also understood Jaewon. Jiyoon's unshakable faith in their relationship and selfless support brought Jaewon out of darkness, and he ended up committing to Jiyoon for life. Ever since Hira saw Kioi entering the class for the first time, he fell in love. Kioi is someone unattainable, someone who is too beautiful to be touched, someone who is worthy of the title of God. Everything about Kioi is godlike. The way he commands respect from other classmates, the way he charms women and men alike, and the way he treats Hira like a servant. Hira is content worshipping Kioi from afar, but what Hira doesn't know is that Kioi is lonely. He is tired of putting up a facade and needs someone who sees him for him. Although Hira loves Kioi, he is afraid to see him as a normal person. And even if one day he did finally see Kioi as a person, he would find it extremely hard to believe that Kioi could fall for a guy like him, a socially awkward introvert who stammers when he gets nervous. But Kioi fell in love with Hira. He found himself getting shy when Hira looked at him with desire in his eyes. Hira's shy, longing glances had a magnetic pull on Kioi's heart. Hira's vulnerability and authenticity were like a lifeline for Kioi, who was tired of maintaining his facade. Kioi was no longer just the unattainable god to Hira. He was a man who had fallen in love with the very person he thought would forever be out of his reach. So these were 7 BL characters who fell harder even though they were not the ones who fell first. I know there are many other BL characters similar to them, and I will make a second part to this video including them. Let me know if you have some examples of similar couples like this, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!